Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and I'm back in my test world ready to do a mod update spotlight video on the Runic Dust Mod. Now you guys might have seen my previous video on the Runic Dust Mod, but it's had a lot of tweaks and changes and updates, and there's some really cool stuff that's been added. So I was in contact with the mod author here and he wanted me to do a new update, so I said sure, definitely, happy to. This mod was awesome, I remember. Now I didn't have a chance to use it in my Let's Play this season, but it was a really cool mod and I really think it's got some awesome stuff in it. So I wanted to show it to you guys and let you get aware of the Runic Dust Mod. It's definitely worth downloading and checking out. Only uses a couple block IDs and it's Forge compatible. Just goes right into the mods folder. Alright, without further ado, let's start showing you guys how the Runic Dust Mod works and what some of the different items are and how they function. Alright, one of the first things you're going to need to know about the Runic Dust Mod is that the Runic Dusts are created, there's 4 of them. There's the Plant Runic Dust and the Gunpowder Runic Dust, and then there's Lapis and Blaze. Okay, now Plant Runic Dust is created with coal and some kind of plant resource. So you can see it's shrubs or grass or leaves or saplings or seeds, some kind of plant thing. Cactus will do it, and you can combine, leaves and seeds, stuff like that. Just combine it with coal and you'll get 4 Plant Runic Dust. You can upgrade that to Gunpowder Dust by, taking 2 Plant Runic Dust and a piece of Gunpowder, and you'll get 3 Gunpowder Runic Dust. So, not the cheapest resources in the world, but definitely pretty cool. They have a lot of power, and there's a lot of different things you can do with them. You also get the Lapis and the Blaze Runic Dusts as shown. So you can kind of see there's basically 2 tiers. There's the Plant and Gunpowder ones, and then there's the Lapis and Blaze Runic Dust ones. And you use the Runic Dusts to draw all kinds of cool stuff in the ground. For example, if I wanted to, I could go over here to this little block and just start clicking with the Gunpowder Dust. And you can see that there's a good number of dusts that you can lay out inside this grid. And you can keep clicking through and you don't have to use the same color. You can use different colors. And it's pretty awesome looking. I like it. And it's great for decorating if you're that type of person who likes to decorate stuff, but of course you don't typically use this to decorate with, although you could. You use it to create some runes. And runes are a pretty interesting material. They can basically use the Runic Dusts to create magical effects within the world. Before you're able to do much with runes, though, you're going to want to craft a Runic Tome. The Runic Tome is simply any book with Plant Runic Dust. And I'm guessing this was a test recipe that he left in by mistake. So, sorry. But yeah, the real way to craft it is just a book with any Runic Dust. Pretty cool. Once you've got your Runic Tome, you want to hold the crouch key so that you're crouching. Okay, crouch key. And right click. And you'll see that you can flip through the Runic Tome and get all kinds of information on this guy. Let's head back to the first page. The Runic Dust Mod by Billy the Goat. You can see some basic information here. And if you left click, you'll turn the page to the first rune. There's 2 pieces of information you want to know about a rune. Number 1, the sacrifice required. Some runes require a sacrifice, some don't. Some of the more expensive runes require some very expensive sacrifices. You can click the description button to change it to show you what the description of the rune does. In this case, the torch rune will spawn a torch. Or if there's a piece of flint sacrificed, it'll spawn a beacon. Okay, so you can see here the sacrifice information. Nothing, normal torch spawn, 1 flint, beacon rune. Let's try it out. So all you got to do is place down 4, and now you notice that the color of the rune here is purple. We don't have any purple Runic Dust, so what's up with that? Purple means you can use any color that you want, and some runes get more powerful based on the colors that you use. So if it's purple and you use Plant Runic Dust in some runes, it'll be a weak effect, but if you use Blaze Runic Dust, it'll be a much more powerful effect. But for the Torch rune, which is a pretty simple one, it doesn't matter what color we use. So let's take a look. All you have to do, like I said, is draw 4 rune dusts like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and simple, just as shown in the Runic Tome. So each little square here is going to be a piece of dust that you place on the ground in the pattern shown. And then to activate the rune, you want to right-click with your Runic Tome. Ta-da! Created a torch for us. Pretty simple, not like torches are hard to get or anything. And, pretty straightforward. But hey, it works. Now let's get ourselves some flint. There we go, got some flint ready. Let's try this again, but sacrifice a piece of flint. So all we gotta do is draw the rune, and then sacrifice a piece of flint. Now you'll also note that the flint seems to be stuck on the rune, and if we get kind of close to it, it's not picking it up. That's important. The sacrifice that you drop on a rune will be stuck to it, and you have to get like right on top of it in order to pick it up. That's to prevent you from accidentally picking up something that you intended to sacrifice. Now let's activate the rune by right-clicking on it. Ta-da! Big, huge beacon going up into the sky. How cool is that? I think it looks nice. So if you wanted to plant a beacon somewhere that you could see from far away, for example, if I ran all the way over here or something, you could see that beacon really far away, going all the way up into the sky. Hard to miss. Cool. So that's a pretty simple and basic rune, but it works. Ta-da! Alright, let's check out some of the other really cool ones. Alright, so let's check out another interesting one. One that I particularly like is called the Rabbit Hole. Simply draw it out like this. Now the sacrifice of this is going to be 2 hunger. So you're going to lose 2 hunger bars when you do this. And it creates a small hole beneath the rune. Let's check it out. And it also notes here that the size of the den underneath that it creates is determined on the strength of the Runic Dust. So let's create a nice simple one with the green plant-based Runic Dust, the cheapest stuff there is, and activate it with a right click. Ta-da! We get teleported underneath, and there's this nice little small room under here. And we can also note that it says stepping on the rune will send you down, and standing directly below and crouching will send you back up, which is pretty much what I just did. And you can see the color of the rune turns yellow while it's disabled. When it's white, it's enabled again, and you can go walk onto it and fall right underneath. Awesome! And if we shift click again, or just crouch on the torch, which is right underneath the rune, you'll see it send you back up. That's pretty cool. But let's build a bigger den. We could use any color dust we want, as indicated by the purple color of the dust on the little thing here. So just let's create it with the blaze rune. That sounds cool. Hopefully there's a nice big open space underneath that we can get into. It doesn't send you into an existing cave, it actually creates a room for you. So let's activate the blaze one and walk onto it. Whoosh! Much bigger rune. Nice. I definitely like that. So now you've got this nice big open space to get into. And if you want to get out, just crouch onto the torch down there and it sends you back out. How cool is that? I love the rabbit hole. So let's check out another interesting rune here. We've got the Rune of Fire. You can see the description is it creates a flame that allows you to smelt items. Items thrown in one at a time have a 90% chance of popping back out smelted. Looks neat. Now you can see it's a pretty big rune. It requires a lot of dust and it's going to take a little bit of a while to build, which is not a big deal. You can also see that it's all blue, or I'm sorry, all green here, so you don't have to pick which color you want. It only works with green dust, so you have to use the green stuff. Not a big deal though. But however, you might say to yourself, that's going to take a while to build, isn't it? Well, that's why we have this guy, the Runic Lexicon. Let's check this out. So the Lexicon, as you can see, is crafted with some wood and one of these runic tomes and any plant or gunpowder or lapis or blaze dust. So you can pretty much choose what dust you want. Neat. And once you've got that, you can flip through with a left click to turn forward in the book and a right click to turn back. Neato. Hey, there's the rune I was looking for, right? Very cool. Rune of Fire. Alright, let's give it a shot. Now, if you want to, you can create what's called a scroll. Yep, there we go. Scroll paper. It's simply a piece of paper and 2 golden nuggets. Not a big deal. So let's get some scroll paper here. And just right-click on the Runic Lexicon once it's on the right page to use some of the scroll paper and have it place some of a piece of scroll in your inventory with that particular rune symbol on it. So what we've got now is an item which will automatically place this rune on the ground, provided we have enough dust. Now, if I don't have the right amount of runic dust in my inventory, and let's get ready to get more back, it shouldn't work. Let's give it a shot. Right-click. Not enough dust. Oh well. Let's get back our plant runic dust, and right-click this time. You can see it used a bunch in my inventory here, and planted the rune on the ground. Now, if we take a look in our Runic Lexicon, you'll see that it requires 8 logs and 1 zombie flesh as a sacrifice. Alright, I can handle that. Let's get 8 logs. Probably wood is what he means. This stuff. And zombie flesh. Cool. So just drop them onto the rune there. Looks good to me. And right click. Ta-da! It's on fire. How cool is that? Now, like it said, if you drop items in there, it should pop out the proper smelted version. I don't know if it works with cobble. Let's try it with iron ore. Oh, no, wait, there's the cobble. It did spit out. Awesome. Look, it's spitting out the cooked versions. That is cool. I like it. And, of course, it'll work with ore as well. Pretty neat rune. I like it. Whoa, shooting the stuff out all over the place, isn't it? Cool. And simply break the stuff to turn it off. And you'll see that now it's just regular fire, and the Runic Dust turns gray. So all you have to do to remove your Runic Dust from the ground, if you have it in a particular pattern and you've drawn it wrong or something like that, you can simply left-click once to get your Runic Dust back. And you can hold left-click on the block to get all the Runic Dust off of that block. Now, once a symbol has, worn out, like it said, it'll turn gray, just like you saw a moment ago. You can also note that it lasts about 1/4 of a day unless it's fueled. In order to fuel your runes, anything that says it needs fuel, you'll want to throw something in there like coal or something along those lines. Now here's an interesting rune called the Rune of Wisdom. It'll store all your XP. When you walk over it, it'll steal the XP from your character, and it'll also store any experience orbs dropped onto it. You can also right-click this thing to get your experience back and pause the rune for a short time. And while it's paused, it'll glow yellow and not absorb any experience. Other players cannot access this rune, only you can. This is a multiplayer compatible mod, by the way. It does require a sacrifice of 16 iron ingots and 6 experience levels. So the thing is, in order for this Rune of Wisdom to work, we're going to need some experience levels. Let's go ahead and try it out. So let's go find the Rune of Wisdom in here. Almost there. There's a bunch of runes, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed. That's it. I'm going to create a couple of these little scrolls. Cool. So if I go over here and drop down a nice little rune thingy there, and I grab myself some bottles of enchanting, which, as you know, is a nice little way to get yourself some experience, courtesy of creative mode type items, and just charge up my experience level to 6. Okay, so it says you need 6 experience levels and 16 iron ingots. Okay, we can get some of those. Grab about a stack of them, and just drop all these guys on the ground as well. So like I said, 16 iron ingots. I don't know if you can drop them stacked like that. We'll find out though. Right click. Oh yeah, it worked. Awesome. So now when I walk over it, it's going to steal my levels. And if I right click on it, it's going to give me my levels back and turn yellow. And while it's yellow, it's not going to go ahead and absorb any experience. Now I'm going to throw these guys on there. It should start sucking in those items. Okay. Now if I right click on this guy now, ta-da, it gave me those levels. Awesome. And if I go stand on it, once it turns white, or green again, I'm sorry, it's going to start absorbing my levels back. And again, right click to get them back. So a nice way to store experience. And keep that in mind, because that's going to be important in a few minutes, really. Next, you might have seen these neat little things right here going on. Let's go find them in the book and see what they're all about. What are these runes? Dun 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 dun. You can see there's all kinds of cool stuff. Hey, Rune of Teleportation. Requires an Ender Eye and 20 experience levels. Holy cow, that's expensive, isn't it? And it takes 3 hearts away on every successful teleportation. Cool. Now, I had some armor on, so that's why I didn't have any, or too much of the stuff problem. How's an Enderman hanging out over there? Look at him, just sneaking into my mod spotlight. Bouncing all over the place. But anyway, this thing will steal a little bit of health every time you travel through, and of course armor helps. And the cool thing about this is it also works with entities. So I can go throw an item in there, and it's going to pop out on the other side. Sweet. Enemies can also travel through there, and presumably minecarts and that kind of good stuff. Now you might be saying to yourself, holy cow, that rune required 20 experience levels? Or the teleport rune? What is up with that, Direwolf? How are we supposed to get so much experience? Well, don't worry. There's a neat little way to do it. And you can see there's a bunch of other cool things. There's some spirit tools available. There's a spawner reassignment, so you can collect spawners. That's pretty cool. Spawner collection and spawner reassignment. Neat. 1 mob egg, 4 ender pearls, and 25 experience will let you reassign the spawn item. And you can collect it with some gold ore and a few levels of experience. Not bad. There's also some other cool things. Let's show you a few more and then I'll get you into how to get experience. Here's an interesting rune. Let's check this out. The Rune of Rebirth drops an egg containing the mob sacrificed. Let's go find that one. It was kind of greenish in the middle. That might be too far back. There we go. That looks cool. The Rune of Sacrifice drops an egg containing the mob sacrificed. It requires as a sacrifice 1 live entity, 1 egg, 1 diamond, and 10 experience levels. Alright, let's make that happen. Alright, so let's see how this thing works. Just got to place the rune on the ground like so. Drop the diamond and drop the egg. Hopefully I'm doing this right. And then spawn a living entity on there. I'll just do, like, you know, that. Oh, looks like he fell underground there. Okay, up there we go, much better. Come over here, Mr. Pig. Let's get some wheat to lure him over. And activate. Ta-da! The rune's active. Cool! Now, how do we use this thing? Good question. Simply drops an egg containing the mob sacrificed. So anytime we sacrifice some kind of enemy here, let's do a spider, for example. Oh, and this thing wore out. Oh, I see. I got it. Alright, it got the egg there. So what you got to do is when you kill the mob, it goes ahead and gives you the spawn egg of whatever mob you had lured on there to kill. So I spawned a spawn pig egg. Awesome. And you can see that the rune died out, so you want to go ahead and break it up now. So you'll have to create another rune if you want to get another egg. Here's another particular favorite of mine, the Earth Sprite. You can see it requires a gas tier, 20 iron ore, 16 glass, 25 experience levels. Holy cow. But it'll last for 3 days, and it's a pretty interesting rune. Now, while I'm in here with creative mode, I'm going to go ahead and show you an item that you can only get in creative mode. It's called the Negate Rune Sacrifice. And the way this thing works is you can place down your runes on the ground, and it will negate any sacrifice needed. Now, like I said, it's only a creative mode or an item you can spawn from any eye. It's really meant for cheating and testing, so that's why I'm using it here in the mod spotlight. So let's go ahead and get it going. Now, another thing you can do is turn on creative mode, and this only works in creative mode, but you can use your Runic Lexicon that I've got in my hand here, and just right-click on the ground, and it'll place down all the dust that's required here on the ground, and it'll just use creative mode inventory to get all the dust it needs. So again, only available in creative mode to do this, but rather than, you know, going through the trouble of doing it, all the sacrifices and everything for the rest of the ones I want to show you, I'm going to show you how to do it the cheating way, which is just to right click while in creative mode. Like I said, it does not work when you're not in creative mode. Okay, you have to use the scrolls when you're playing legitly. But if you're in creative mode, you can do that. And then you can just drop this little thing on the ground there and activate your rune. Ta-da! And you can collect that item back. It never actually gets used. And now you've got the Earth Sprite protecting you. It protects you from any enemies and bad guys. And if you stand in place and hold shift, whoosh, the Earth Sprite sucks in and takes care of you. It surrounds you in a nice protective area. And let go of shift again, and it'll start circling you some more. You can hold shift and walk. It won't surround you. You have to hold shift and stand still for it to surround you. Pretty awesome. And simply break the rune there, and it'll clear away and get rid of the sprite. The sprite lasts, I want to say, for 3 days or so before it runs out, unless, of course, like I said, you give it some fuel. Awesome. Here's another interesting Rune of Protection, 2 live iron golems, and 50 experience levels. Yep. And it lasts a day unless you supply it some fuel. But let's place it down on the ground here. And you can see it's got some purple dust right on the bottom. So let's get some more dust here. I'm going to go ahead and just get some Runic Dust. We'll get this guy out and put this on. There we go. Now, whenever you place down a scroll and it's got the purple dust in there, just right-click with whatever color you want it to do, and it'll instantly turn all the purple dust into that color. And I'll drop my negation rune in there and right-click. Ta-da! I guess you don't actually see anything, but it should be pushing mobs away. Let's get ourselves a spider egg and see what happens. Spawn spider, please. Where'd he go? Whoa, there he goes. Alright, cool. So yeah, that's a pretty strong rune. It really is protective. It'll push enemies away really far. Holy cow. Yep, definitely a nice long range. I like it. Come on, spider. Come try and attack me. Oh, that's right, you can't. Oh, there we go. There's some particle effects. Wow, that is a really long range. I like it. Doesn't bother the sheep, though. He wants to hang out. Cool. And again, just break the rune to turn off the effect. Neat. Alright, so you're wondering, hey Direwolf, how do we get a lot of experience to help out with all these runes? Now, we're going to need to create a Rune of the Sarlacc, which is a pretty expensive one, unfortunately, but once you get it, it's a pretty powerful rune that'll help collect experience, and let me show you how that's going to work. I've got a nice little area set up, ready to go, right over here. Simply right-click on the ground, and you don't need the holes there, I just built them ahead of time. There we go, and it places everything down. And underneath, I'm going to place down a few other runes. So let's see. I want to get, going back a little bit to a rune that I crafted before, the Runes of Wisdom. Cool. So I'm going to place that guy there and that guy there. Now, if you place down a Rune of Wisdom and use the Negate Rune Sacrifice, it's going to boost your level to the max. So I'm going to turn off creative mode for a moment and get the actual sacrifices needed for this one. There we go, activating this guy. He's good to go. And I need to do the same, more bottles of enchanting. And of course it's all getting sucked into there, and then I right-clicked on it and it's good to go. And we'll drop the iron on this side too. Cool. And activate this thing. Nice, they're both ready to go. Now, let's drop our interesting little Rune of Sacrifice thingy. Negate Rune Sacrifice right on here and activate him. Oh, I might need to be in creative mode. Just because it does require the EXP, and the EXP will be negated in... There we go. Ta-da! Negate Sacrifice and activate. Ooh, the Sarlacc rune. Very powerful. Very cool. Once it's activated, it's got these neat little effects on it. And you can see that there's a way to kill items or enemies is to just get them nearby. Now I'm just going to get a spider spawner egg. And whenever they get close to this little thing, so let's drop a few spiders down and aggravate them and get them to chase after me. Boom, they'll die. And all their experience will typically fall right into the center of this pit. And because I activated the runes on the bottom, it's going to go ahead and suck up all that experience. How cool. So you can see it all falling into the bottom of the pits. The Sarlacc rune also doubles any experience that the enemies might have dropped. So you'll get twice as much experience when enemies are killed in this manner. So you can see me killing a bunch of spiders this way, and all the experience is getting sucked right into the middle there. Awesome. Let's go down and see what kind of levels I got. Alright, so if I hop into here, get off creative mode for a moment. There we go, and right click. Ooh, even got 5 levels from that, and 16, nice. I got up to 16 levels. Now, if you're not in creative mode, of course, this rune will hurt you if you get right on top of it, but down here underneath, it's okay. And of course, this guy sucked up all my levels real quick. So that is pretty awesome. Now, there's one more item that I haven't shown you, and that's called the Chisel. Hammer and Chisel is crafted as shown here. Iron, cobblestone, and stick. Nice and easy. So here's one of the few runes that exist so far, and there's more coming in the future, that use this little chisel. The area you want to lift should be outlined with etchings filled with clay blocks. Alright, cool. Let's see how that works. And what it's going to do is lift the earth specified by the clay-filled etchings up high into the sky. So it basically creates a mountain. I'm going to use that sacrifice thingy that I've got here. I want to make sure I've got that ready. And I want to go ahead and use the clay blocks that it said I have to use to fill in with the chisel. Cool. Let's give it a shot. And I want to switch into creative mode as well. So I'm just going to run off in some direction here that has a nice open terrain. This looks good. And place down this rune. Okay. Ta-da! Now, of course, it's got this little symbol here in the middle. So let's get some dust to turn that purple into the blaze dust. I'll get rid of my ring. Cool. Now let's try etching this thing out. Looks cool. So you can see that you can basically etch patterns into the ground, and you don't have to, use this specifically for the purpose of, doing the runes. You can do this for pretty much aesthetic purposes if you want. Looks pretty neat. So I'm going to just try mapping out this area around here, and I'll be back once I've got it all etched out. Alright, so that looks pretty cool. And it said to fill it with clay dust, huh? Alright, that should be a problem. Just, right-click on the block once you've mapped out the chiseled locations. Looks pretty straightforward. Cool. Now, because I'm in creative, it's not using the clay, but I'm assuring myself it probably will if I wasn't in creative. Alright, let's give it a shot. Ooh, that's neat looking. Cool. So it's basically rising up all the blocks that were inside that pattern that I've got that are not the runic blocks. Okay, cool. And you can make that area pretty decent size, I believe. And it'll raise it up pretty high into the sky. Pretty awesome looking. But that's what the chisel is and how to use it. It's pretty straightforward. It just basically allows you to map out an area. Like I said, there's not too many runes at the moment that use it, but there's more to come in the future as far as I understand it. Awesome. Now, I mentioned there's a lot more runes here. Don't worry, there's plenty that I haven't had a chance to show you. There's actually, I think, 46 runes. You can see there's just tons of them. All kinds of traps and weird different effects, things that spawn land, flatten it. Blinding Fog is a really cool one. You'll definitely want to check that out. It creates some really cool effects that blind you. And I'm going to make you guys go ahead and download this mod to check out some of the ones that I didn't actually get a chance to show you just yet. Like I said, plenty of cool stuff to check out in the Runic Dust mod. So this is Direwolf20 signing off on the mod spotlight of the Runic Dusts mod. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's really an interesting mod. It requires a little bit of work, of course, but adds some really cool effects and abilities. It's really a lot of fun. Alright guys, take it easy.